Hey everybody, Everything in Moderation, episode 7. Eric, what are we discussing today?
Today we're talking about taxes.
Oh, baby. So just to start the conversation on, what do you guys think that what are taxes there for? What are they aiming to accomplish?
To help the government help people.
Eric?
Eric?
I'm frozen. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You're
Okay.
moving now.
What?
You're moving now.
Okay. So I think that the purpose of taxes should be to provide I don't want to say safety net, that's not the right word, but it should be to provide the necessary resources for anyone in the country that needs it, as long as you're like a citizen or whatever. So if you're participating in a country, you should have the rights to, especially in a rich country, you should have the rights to certain things that taxes will fund. Like some of them are obvious, like roads, schools, stuff like that. And I think that we should be funding more programs like these through taxes, which is why I believe healthcare funded by the government is a thing, because I feel like all people should have healthcare, and that's like part of being part of a country. Like you work together, because everyone working together will build something better than people like individually doing something. And I feel like taxes is like how we bring everything together.
Yeah, I wouldn't really add anything too much to that. The taxes are basically just like paying for the services that the government delivers to people. Um, Obviously, there's a controversy in terms of should we tax the rich more or at exorbitant amounts or whatever, which creates disagreements between the left and the right. But there, I mean, we're all middle class kids, so in a way, I kind of feel like we're a little more unbiased, but we all have our opinions on that. So we're gonna get into that.
I'd say one of the bigger controversies besides that is whether or not we should tax people at all.
That's true.
Not just let people do it themselves instead of taking their money.
Is anyone really debating for that though? Would you argue for that or no?
I mean, prove to me that the government knows how to spend my money better than I do.
That would be an awesome thing to measure, but I don't know if we can.
I mean, I like the police, I like roads, I like schools. I think those are all good things. I think they're kind of necessary for a functional country. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree, but I think that the government spends too much money on social programs that don't work and they should be cut, and that money should be given back to the citizens.
What social programs do you think that don't work?
Any and all social welfare programs, none of them work.
And how
Do you think we should replace those programs or just cut them completely?
I think that they should be cut until something that works is put in place, because they don't work and I don't want to just keep throwing my money at something that doesn't work.
But what about the people who rely on that?
It's unfortunate that you are buying into a failing system.
I'm glad you're not my president.
Listen, I think that taxes are obviously necessary. I think that, I mean, if we're gonna get into the Biden and Trump tax plans, I actually just want to bring up real quick the 50 Cent tweet. The 50 Cent tweet actually turned the social media on its turned it over. It's crazy. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'll just read it. So he took a picture of this. I'll share my screen real quick. And for those listening, I'll just read it. So 50 said, "What the fuck? Vote for Trump. I'm out. Fuck New York. The Knicks never win anyway. I don't care. Trump doesn't like black people. 62%. Are you out of your fucking mind?" So he attached the graphic from, I can't tell what news site that is, but it's top tax rates by state under Biden tax plan. So California would be 62.6%, New Jersey 60%, New York State 58%, New York City 62%. A lot of what people don't realize though is that that is only for people that make over $400,000 a year. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Eric, I think you kind of know how that works better. It's not like if you make $400,000, you're not taxed 62%. Like you're taxed whatever you make after 400,000.
And you think it's okay to tax?
Yeah. So if you made
people-
like $500,000, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. I'll just keep talking until Eric gets back.
So I don't think that it's fair that because people make more money, you take over half of that extra money just because. That's ridiculous
And why do you think that?
because it's not the government's money. It's the people who earned it money.
There's like an argument saying that like that the government provides the people a platform in a way to like make their money. What do you feel about that?
No one making over $400,000 a year is getting anything from the government.
Okay.
You're
Fair.
not working a government job if you're getting over $400,000 a year. So the government's not helping you there. They're just taking over half of your extra money that you earned by yourself.
Eric, you're moving now, so welcome back.
Yeah. I didn't hear the beginning of that, but I'll just respond to what Sean said because it kind of pissed me off. Like this to say that you're not getting anything out of that is absolutely absurd. Because what if your house catches on fire? You don't like you need a fire department. What if someone commits a crime? You need a
Tax
police department.
They're paying their taxes on the original $400,000 that they made, which goes to the fire department. They're paying all their taxes that they're supposed to. Now you're adding on an extra tax because they make more money.
It's not an extra tax. It's just a
It's an
tax
extra
bracket.
tax. Your tax is based on how much money you make. When you tax an extra percentage because you make more money, that's an extra tax. It's literally penalizing.
Can I share
people.
my screen?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, you don't have permission?
I
Yeah, let me do this real quick. I'm just gonna make you the host.
Oh, we're hosts now. I'm about to get kicked.
All right, can you guys see this?
Yes.
So people are getting absolutely outraged by the fact that the top tax bracket would be 60% in some states under Biden's plan. But if we look throughout history, it's not that crazy. There was 95% in the top tax bracket in like the 50s, 40s, 60s. I'm pretty sure this is what this is saying. But basically my point is people are acting like it's absolutely ridiculous to tax like that much of a percent. But if you have that much money, only that part is getting like only the part over $400,000 is getting taxed at that rate. And those like after that much money, like I think I'm frozen.
No, you're good.
We still heard you though, so you're good. Continue right where you left off.
Okay. What was I gonna say?
Technical difficulties. Sorry, everybody.
So yeah, first of all, I don't think it's like ridiculous to tax 60% the highest tax bracket. And I also think if you have that much money, you have more of a responsibility to fund the government programs.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar, Eric, but so take New York City, for example, it's 62%, right?
Yep.
So that's what your taxable income is after 400,000. So like you said, you said 500,000. The extra 100,000 would be taxed at 62%, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So now what about like the actual taxes do they pay? Like, do they still pay the taxes that they were already paying? Like the tax bracket that they belong to already?
It's like every tax bracket. So like your first $10,000 is taxed like 0%. Your next, I don't know the exact number, probably like 20,000 is taxed at like 5% or whatever. And then it like keeps going up.
Can you explain that again? I'm not sure I understood.
Let me
We're just looking at some things and check the tax brackets too. Oh,
so if you make $0 to $9,700, you're getting like this is even like if you make like more. So let's say you're making $1 million a year. The first $10,000 you make is taxed at 10%, and then everything from 9,000 to 40,000 is taxed at 12%. And it doesn't get like to a high number until I don't know like 200,000, which is 35%. So like you're not your all of your money is would be taxed at 60%. It's only what you make after you enter the highest tax bracket. So if you're making $400,000 on the nose, you're not getting taxed at 60% whatsoever.
But what? Okay, so that then my question is now, what is that person getting taxed? They're getting taxed the 35%, which would be their bracket that we see on screen right now.
Yeah, that would only be the $200,000 from 200,000 to $400,000. So that's taxed at 35%, whatever that would be. But
Yeah.
the first $10,000 they make is only taxed at 10%.
Okay.
So like not all of their income is taxed at that 35%, only the last $200,000.
Okay. Makes sense. So now, Sean, how do you feel about a system like that?
I don't think that it should continue increasing after a certain point. It should stick. It's penalizing people for making money and being successful.
So do you think, so what would you do to change that or make that better?
I would have a cap on the amount, like the percentage you're able to tax on income.
There is a cap.
No.
Right now it's 35%.
And I'm saying it shouldn't increase. It shouldn't be 62% on anything. The government
Well, I
is
think
not entitled to more of the money than you are of the money you earned.
I think you're looking at it from the wrong perspective. You're saying it's like punishment.
It is
It's not punishment. It's supposed to help all like be for the people.
and it's punishing the people that make more money, which means I have no incentive to keep my money as a liquid form or in physical form or in a bank account. I'm just going to continue to put it into the stock market or something, or put it in a bank overseas.
Now that's another, I think
Can't touch it.
that's another situation that Biden presents. I think that Biden is raising the capital gains tax. Eric, do you know that?
I have no idea.
Okay, hold on. I'll take a look. You two hash it out for a second.
We should segue this into what we were talking about in the group chat the other day and talk about like an asset tax. That is an interesting one because I read an article a couple weeks ago from the Washington Post, and it basically said that the effective tax rate for the top 400 earners, like the top 400 family earners, is like the effective tax rate is less than the bottom income bracket. So basically, what that's saying is like, because of all like the write-offs or whatever you can do, I don't know how rich people do it, but those 400 richest families are paying a 23.6% tax rate, and the lowest people are paying an average of a 24% tax rate. And I think that's absurd. And
Yeah.
because there's so many loopholes in the tax system, I don't think just raising like the highest tax bracket is a good solution. I think it's like a band-aid. It won't work.
That 23.
Yep, go ahead, Christian.
Sorry, go Christian.
Well, do you think that tax forms, and like, I know your brother could maybe speak on this. Eric's brother is an accountant. So, do you think that tax forms are way too complicated in the sense where like it kind of like discourages people? It's like not like try to like get out of it.
I feel like it's intentionally like that,
Yeah.
so that you need to like kind of be rich to like hire someone to do it for you to get all the loopholes. Essentially,
That's exactly
like it's becoming more
exactly what I'm saying.
accessible.
Do you think that it's wrong that we have to hire someone to do it and like not spend as much money?
Yeah. Speaking of what our taxes should be paid for in high school, you should learn how to do your own taxes.
All comes back to education, everybody.
100%. It's all intertwined, as Luke said in the last episode.
So I'd like to circle back to this 23.6 or whatever the number was that's lower than 24%. That 23.6%
Yep.
they're paying is more money than the 24% that the less wealthy individuals are paying.
Correct.
Getting more money.
I don't think that's fair though,
23%.
because the thing is, if you can't look at it like that though, because $10 to the top whatever people is like, it's literally not worth their time to pick it up if they drop it. But like if you're in the lowest whatever percent, like that $10 is going to go a lot further for you. So it's more important that those people have money than the richest people.
So basically, don't be rich or you lose
No,
money.
like you can still be rich under a system like this. Like people are still rich. They're just not stupid rich. I don't
Rich people, if they earn the money.
Did they really earn it though?
I mean, if they invested properly and they own the proper companies, yeah, they did. They really did earn that money.
What if
Um,
they don't pay their workers like a living wage? Are they really earning it, or are they just exploiting their workers?
Minimum wage is a livable wage.
Disagree, and it's just
well,
not
I
true.
mean, if
Or
you
let me rephrase that. Let me
It's
rephrase.
just statistically not true.
Minimum wage by itself is not a livable wage, but it was never meant to be a livable wage.
Wrong.
It is
was,
a
it was supposed to be.
minimum wage is
Wrong.
for teenagers and for people that need to work multiple jobs
No,
because they have no skills
stop.
whatsoever.
That's just wrong. That's just wrong.
It's not.
Okay, hold on.
Share my screen.
Oh boy. Sean, we covered this on the last episode, bro.
Yeah, we literally talked about it.
I disagree.
You
Well, you
can't
can dis-
disagree.
you-
The person
can
who
disagree.
who implemented minimum wage said it should be for a living wage.
You could disagree with it, Sean, but you have to understand like it was implemented to be a livable wage.
Yeah, back in the
I'll ensure that.
1940s.
Yeah, but I mean,
But I think you're arguing for no reason, because like I found it. All right, so this is 1933. During an address FDR gave about one of his many economic salvage package, he explained that no business which depends for existence on paying less than living wage to its workers has any right to continue in this country. So because of this, he passed New Deal legislation and set minimum wage. Roosevelt intended this rate to be more than a bare subsistence level. The minimum wage was created expressly to ensure that people of all skill levels, if they worked, could earn a decent living off those, thus a living wage.
And you can earn a living wage. But if you have no skills, you should be working multiple jobs because you should not be getting paid as much as someone who has skills and works a job that requires more skill than you.
well, there lies in how do you become more skillful. Like I know Eric is like big on the like I remember just to repeat like what he said like one time where he says, how are they going to pay to like learn more skills
You
if
don't
they
need to pay.
don't have the money? Obviously, yeah, we live in the internet age where you can learn a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, if you go in for an interview and your resume says like you didn't even like graduate college and you're trying to work at like a JP Morgan and Chase for financial advisory, they're not going to take you.
They're not even gonna. They're gonna throw out your resume.
They're
Before
going to laugh at you.
Yeah.
You may be totally able to do the job. Absolutely. But that's the thing. I mean, that kind of segues into another problem, but it's the sense that even if you did learn how to do it on your own, if you don't have that piece of paper telling you that you are certified to do it, it's not worth it. Like it
You want
did.
to know what's a decent solution to that?
What?
We have the rich people in the country who pay more taxes fund college so that anyone can go to college and make a living wage. Or we just up the minimum wage. Either way.
We tell colleges they can't upcharge their students by tens of thousands of dollars.
I agree.
Just to get back to the tax portion, we kind of like went into minimum wage a little bit. We will talk about that again, don't you worry. But
I love minimum.
I looked up what the Biden capital gains tax is going to be. So right now it is 23.8% right now.
Is that long term or short term?
His plan is long term. I don't know what the 23%.
I don't get
I'll just read this. It's from Bloomberg. Democratic presidential challenger Joe Biden's proposed tax plan includes raising long-term capital gains tax rates and taxes on dividends to 39.6% for those making more than $1 million a year. Okay. That would be an increase from the current 23.8%, marking the biggest hike in capital gains taxes in history. Given all that is going on with this election, the topic is not getting with the idea.
I feel like it's a good idea, but it's not going to solve what he wants it to solve. So I'm not sure how I feel.
What do you think that he wants to solve with that?
I think that the whole point is because these people who are like so rich in general, most of their money's in the stock market, and in a lot of cases, it's in their own company. So when they want to like buy a house or something, they sell their stock, and that's what this would be taxed on. But I don't think it's going to be very effective because these people are going to hold their stock till they die for the most part, and they're not really selling those stocks.
So do you think that
Why would I sell my stock if I'm going to have to pay for it? Why
Exactly.
not just keep the money?
So, I mean, it is unrealized gains. Like you don't actually have it, but it
Yeah.
contributes to your net worth. um,
That's why I
uh,
think an asset tax would be more effective for what he's trying to do.
so what would an asset tax accomplish?
Well, basically, this was in Bernie Sanders' plan, so I'll pretty much just say what he said. But he wants like I think it was a 1% asset tax on like any stocks you own over $1 million. So if you're like a millionaire with all because of your stocks, every year you'd have to pay 1% on whatever like net assets you have. So like it would include like your house and your stocks. I'm pretty sure. So if that in total is if it's worth like $5 million, you'd pay 1% of that, whatever that is,
Mhm.
5,000, 50,000. I don't know.
So do you think do you think that would go over well with
I
the,
don't think that would go over well, but I think that'd be a better solution for what Biden's plan is trying to solve.
well, I mean, I could just uh validate what you just said because Bloomberg's opinion piece said Biden's capital gains tax plan fixes nothing. So,
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
no, you were on the money there. Um, I don't know what the implications of like an asset tax would really like encompass, like if it was actually put into practice. Um, I think I was like, okay, like reasonable until you got to the house part. When it got to the house part, I was like,
Like,
that kind
not
of put me
it
off.
also includes automobiles and
I don't think it does.
Because,
anything
I'm
else.
talking about
because
Bernie's
if you
plan.
think about it, a house is a liability and like a car is a liability because you keep putting money into it, like to upkeep it. An asset is something that you have that you could use for leverage. And granted, yes, you could sell your house, but
Wait, sorry, let me correct that. Bernie's plan is a 1% tax on wealth above 32 million for married couples, not 1 million.
okay. So 32
Sorry.
million, that would be wealth and that would just be in general.
Like assets, total assets.
Okay, well, if you have $32 million of like stocks and shit, that's pretty fucking wild.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like that like having a 1% tax on those people, like it depends how we use the money, obviously. If we use the money in the right way, I support it.
I think that is the biggest like issue that anyone could have with the more taxes. And that's normally what comes about like the taxes on the right and left thing. And we talked about Norway in a past episode a while ago. And the thing is like if I lived in Norway and they were like delivering everything that they're delivering to me, I have no problem. Like I would have no problem paying those taxes, right? But
Yep.
it's the issue here is that you don't really you can't really see like what you're paying for in a way. Like you, I'm trying to put it like in Norway, it's easy to see what you're paying for because free college, healthcare, like that's like it's concrete, like you can see it. Whereas like here, you're like you don't really know if it's getting better or not. Yeah, you can look at facts and figures, but does facts and figures count more than experience, like your personal experience does?
That's a good point you raised. Like that's why I think you should have a say in what a percentage of your taxes go towards. That's
Totally.
part of Andrew Yang's platform. So let me throw it out there. Yang.
um, but just to go back to Norway for a second, I think that the biggest reason why that system works is because they've created a political culture where it's like pretty much free from corruption. Um, if you actually, there is a world corruption index.
Yeah. I was looking at this the other day actually, and
So
like the Freedom Index or something.
it is corruption perception. So like it's like I don't you can't really measure corruption, I guess, but um let's go 2000 let's see. Okay. I just pulled it up. Let me share my screen. Oh wait, Eric, you can host for a second.
Oh shit. How do I do that?
You just click on the three dots and make host. Okay. So let's do that. Right. Norway's sitting there
Yep, this
pretty
way.
at 7. So The US is 23, just to put that in perspective. To be
69
honest,
out of 100.
what was that?
69 out of 100.
Yeah, it's a passing grade in the business school. um, the UK is 12. Norway 7. We got Russia 137. Oof. What's China? 80. All right. But yeah, that's the thing with Norway that I have. It's like and another thing that like you have to like actually take into account with like Norway, it's a very like homogeneous region. Like everyone who's there, like mostly Norwegian, right? Whereas like here, we have all different like types of different people, and that's a good thing. I think that's like actually like a competitive advantage in a way, but it does lead to like disagreements, which obviously, as you can see here. But
I don't like this argument.
what do you mean?
I feel like because you're saying like it's a homogenous population, so like they tend to like agree more. But I think if you ask anyone on the street, they'll say I'm an American.
Yeah,
Like they identify as an American the same way they would in Norway.
I don't agree with that. I think that normally when you ask someone, like if I ask you what you are, right? I feel like you would probably say like what your ethnicity is.
I'm an Irish American.
Yes. So like it's your ethnicity first. And like I always noticed that because I said, if you are here, right? Say you're Portuguese. You say to someone here, oh, I'm Portuguese. But like you're not actually from Portugal. But then when you go to Portugal, you tell people that you're American.
Yeah, but that's my point. I think everyone in this country would identify as an American.
And I hope so. But I don't know.
That's where I think the argument kind of falls apart.
Okay,
I feel like if we were more, go ahead.
And well, I mean, I was just like saying that as just like an aside thing. That wasn't really my argument.
Yeah.
But it was just the fact that the political culture that Norway created is like to create a better life for the people. Whereas here, that's what it is in writing per se, but I just don't feel like that's the motivation.
I agree with that completely. I just don't think, yeah, I agree with that completely.
So if you could find the way to change our entire political culture to where the point is like you don't just get like a good generation to like fix things, like say like our generation grows up and we like put this country into a better place, right? It doesn't really matter if the next generation just wants to take it all down. They hated what we did, right? Because even if like you do show good results, there is some people that are going to be like, no, fuck that. Like we're going to do it my way, right? And that's good because like, I mean, not even good, but like it's good in a way because you get different ways to do things. But as long as you get corruption out of politics, then you could start moving forward more, in my opinion.
Do you consider like lobbying corruption because it's illegal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
So
lobbying is legal bribery.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. How do we let that happen? I don't understand.
Because someone said I can make a lot of money if I let these companies pay me. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, but now we didn't really mention Trump's tax plan at all. Let's actually take a look at that.
I feel like a lot of like middle class people think if like Trump's tax plan would help them like a lot, but in reality, like I think I saw a stat that said the average someone saved under Trump's tax plan was like $2,000.
Trump's very big business heavy.
Yeah, it's very good for corporate taxes. Yeah. I mean, I guess you can make the argument that some people think that like lowering the corporate tax rate would help everyone, but I don't necessarily agree with that at all.
Yeah, I mean that's like one of the main arguments I hear for Trump is that like if you like the whole tax thing is like there's more like it's not like pissing off the corporations so like they'll hire more workers, but I don't know if like that's a causality type thing.
Yeah.
Eric, I love how Democrat you are.
I'm not Democrat. Don't say that. Well, I fucking hate the Democrats.
You're socialist, which is on the Democrat side.
Oh wow, he hated that much he froze. All right, so we'll wrap it up with Trump's tax plan if I could find it. You two take a look, see if you find anything real quick. But we have the individual income. Like I've heard that like some people, like my dad said that he did better under like Trump than he did like under Obama. Um, Obviously that's just like an individual type thing, and like who knows if that's actually the president influencing the positive growth in terms of personal wealth, or is it just like you just had a good year?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, to bring it back, I constantly reference that conference I went to a couple weeks ago, but he said that like it was Jason Furman who said that he did not believe that the president really had much of a bearing on how the economy did. That was his.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Could be true. I don't know.
I mean, they introduce plans, but they have to do a lot of bartering to get those plans to the floor and then to pass.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, like 99% of the plans people come up with are going to be changed because of how our political landscape is. Like they would never pass something like, you know what I mean? Like I don't even know how to say it, but if like the Democrats want something and they propose it, by the time it like actually gets to become like a law, it's completely changed.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why it's kind of weird how like there's not more cooperation, because it's like, why do you keep wanting to like waste your time and money like creating this plan only for it to get ripped down in like 2 years?
Because everybody has constituents that they have to make like them so they get reelected.
Correct.
Point. So Trump's campaign tax proposal falls under two categories outlined in the agenda: jobs and our reliance on China. With additional details on the proposals to be shared over the coming weeks. So this was from August 25th, 2020. So it's a little backdated, but still. First, an unspecified tax credit for companies. Second is allowing 100% expensing for current industries, pharmaceuticals, and robotics that bring manufacturing back to the United States.
Are you looking for Trump's tax plan?
Yeah, I'm reading like about it on Tax Foundation right now.
I have like the personal tax rates that he changed.
Yep, go ahead.
Top rate fell from 39.6% to 37%. And then everything else fell by around 2%, 28 to 24, 25 to 22, 15 to 12. And then 10% was the lowest. It stayed the same.
Interesting. I wonder, like, we'll have to look at it. We don't have enough time to look at it, but if we were to look at like how that affected the economy, because the big thing is like Republicans like to say that, oh, lower taxes equals better economy. Not necessarily true.
Lower taxes means more freedom and more you're able to spend your money instead of the government spending it.
Yes, that's another argument that they bring up.
I would agree that it gives freedom to rich people more, but not to poor people. I think rich people have enough freedom even when being taxed at higher rates. That's basically the thesis of my argument, I'll say.
There's a lot that goes into that too, where it says like, oh, if you're not paying like taxes on like if your taxes are lower, like as a like lower income citizen, like you'd have more money in your pocket. Or like that's the argument that I normally hear.
And then you spend more.
Yeah.
Stimulates the economy. That's part of my point too.
So any closing thoughts? We have like 4 minutes left. So
quickly, how would you guys feel if like we increased taxes and it funded like a UBI?
How would that work?
Like instead of as Sean says, the government spends your money, we raise taxes and we just give everyone money instead.
So why not raise taxes and give people their money and leave it in their pocket?
To help the people who don't have that much money and stimulate local economies.
That's sort of what tax credits do, in a way.
Tax credits?
And
Yeah.
there
Not familiar.
is where you have a little something going for you.
What? What?
I said there's where you have a little something going for you.
You agree with what I said? Like, yeah.
Yes, but I also don't necessarily agree that it should cost other people more money.
You're afraid of the dreaded R word, redistribution.
All right, let me just read this real quick. We have 3
I
minutes.
don't think that should be redistributed.
So a tax credit is when you subtract tax credits from the amount of tax you owe. There are 2 types of tax credits. A non-refundable tax credit means you get a refund only up to the amount you owe. A refundable tax credit means you get a refund even if it's more than what you owe. So sort of like what you just described to me, that immediately got me thinking of like tax credits.
Yeah, but I would say the people who are like in that situation who are like poor don't know how to do that.
Yes. It's
They don't know how to take advantage of it. So it's like a double-edged sword there.
I mean, I guess like what you're saying, like it makes sense. I think what you're suggesting would give them like more, like it's in their hands type thing, whereas like the tax credits is what the government wants to give you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfectly
That-
said.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm getting at. But I think we'll end it at that. Good episode highlighting a bunch of different tax philosophies and whatnot. We will be sure to revisit this topic as many others later, but as information develops. Sean, do you have anything more to say? Just to close.
I love that shirt, Eric.
Thank you. You're not getting it back.
Hey, it did its job. It got me into a party.
Excellent. All right. Thank you guys for joining and have a great week.
Peace.
Bye.
Signing off.